This just in, the Philadelphia Eagles could potentially be open to trading one of their wide receivers. We will break down exactly what it means and everything else you need to know right here coming up. What is going on, everyone? Welcome into A to Z Philly, your number one home for Eagles coverage. Hit the like button if you enjoy these videos. Subscribe by hitting that red button down below and hit that bell so you don't miss any of the coverage. We need to dive right into this as a report coming out just moments ago from The Athletic stating that the Philadelphia Eagles could potentially be open to trading one of their wide receivers. And I want to hear from Eagle Nation. Does this make sense? Should they go out and make this move? What would be in it for the Eagles? We'll break down that, the contract situation, and everything else that you need to know right here on the show today. But before we get right into that, shout out to the sponsor here of today's video, BetMGM. Enjoy all your favorite sports like never before at BetMGM. Sign up using code ATOZPA and receive up to $1,000 back in bonus bets. If you don't win your first bet, when you register with BetMGM, you'll get instant access to a variety of parlay selection features, live betting options, player props, and daily boosted odds specials. And with BetMGM at your fingertips, every play and every game matter more than ever. Find out why BetMGM is the king of sportsbooks. Sign up today with bonus code ATOZPA and get up to $1,000 back in bonus bets if you don't win your first bet. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. 21 years of age or older to wager. Pennsylvania only. New customer offer. Bonus bets expire 7 days from issuance. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, let's hop right into it, man. So this report coming out not too long ago, and it is from theathletic.com. They say, quote, the Eagles would certainly be open to trading wide receiver Quez Watkins, the 24-year-old, coming off kind of a disappointing year. We'll talk about what happened in the last game, the last memory of Quez Watkins. But, you know, as Don says here, or as Dov says here on Twitter, Watkins is a speed demon with 4.3 speed, but has struggled with inconsistency. You know, coming out a couple years ago, it's a 6th-round pick. A lot of fans were hype on Quez Watkins. At one point in that rookie year, he was looking like, okay, maybe this is one of the steals of the draft, one of those receivers that could potentially be great for a long time. One of the guys that went way under the radar. He got drafted early as a junior. So there was a lot of things that go into it. But right now, the Eagles need to continue to look to upgrade for every single way. You know, they need to get better at every single position if they want to make a run back to the big game. You know, it's a hard journey. But anyway, the Eagles are weighing all their options. And here is the last memory a lot of Eagle fans have. And one of the biggest gripes that Eagle Nation has had with Quez Watkins. Here is a play from the big game. And we all remember what happens. This is honestly a turning point in the game. The Chiefs end up taking the lead, you know, in the next drive. But, you know, look at this. Jalen Hurts looking deep. And this is what Quez Watkins has been here, primarily a deep threat. And there have been too many times that Eagle fans have been frustrated with this type of play. Look at that. Right in the hands and cannot pull it in. Kind of looked like he gave up a little bit on the route, but, you know, that's the frustrating thing when it comes to Quez Watkins. He has the potential. He's 24 years old. He has shown a lot of upside as a deep threat. He has those quick bursts of speed. You know, he can run good routes. But at the end of the day, is he going to be a reliable option on the outside? Can he develop and continue to develop those hands and be one of those top guys? I don't know. When you look at the Eagles depth chart, you know, obviously A.J. Brown is that dude. Obviously Devontae Smith is that dude, and that's a guy you're going to have to pay, you know, probably within this next year. Right? And so you have A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and then who is that third guy going to be? Is Quez Watkins reliable to be that third option? You know, obviously the big game dropped there, but, you know, go back to the Washington game when the Eagles lost this year. A big drop by Quez Watkins could have turned the tide of the game. You just simply cannot have those type of mistakes if you want to be a championship team. And I like Quez Watkins. I think he definitely can develop and be that guy. The question is, with a contract year coming up, you know, what is the value going to be for Quez Watkins? Is it smarter to try to move him now, get as much value as possible before, you know, you potentially either let him walk for nothing or have to pay him a ransom while you're also trying to pay Devontae Smith and bring a lot of other guys back to this team? You know, the Eagles have draft picks, and I feel like with the role of Quez Watkins, I think there's guys that you can always find, later in the draft, right? Here are the Eagles draft picks this year. They have a couple firsts, they have a second, a third, couple sevenths. These are guys that can probably typically be found in that draft, or maybe the Eagles go a different route. Maybe they want more of a veteran wide receiver, a guy who's not going to play as much, but, can be an occasional deep threat that has sure hands, a guy who has been around the league, who has made the rounds, who has made the journey to a couple different teams, and maybe is a more reliable option than Quez Watkins when it comes to making big plays, right? You look at the free agent list this year. You look at a guy like a Robert Woods. How about a guy like a Randall Cobb? Maybe a guy like that could better complement the duo of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. What does Eagle Nation think? I think right now it all depends on the strategy of Howie Roseman. What do you want to do? Where do you want to upgrade? Nobody really knows right now what the Eagles are targeting in the first round with that 10th overall pick. Do they want to go in the trenches? I mean, that's typically what Howie likes to do. Maybe they go on an opposite corner for Slay, right? Maybe they go on the other island and try to bring in a young, talented corner because it's likely that James Bradbury will end up leaving in free agency. You'll want to prioritize bringing back C.J. Gardner-Johnson. So maybe you get another corner. Maybe you get a stud of a linebacker. Who knows where the Eagles are going to go? But is it crazy enough to think that they might actually look to draft a wide receiver? Not in the first round, but maybe in the second round, maybe in the third round. You can never have enough. And, you look at this talent. It really just depends what they want to do, where they want to draft. I think the draft is the main concern. But if you think you can get value for Quez Watkins and you look at his value and you don't think he's going to end up blossoming into that number 1 or number 2 type of receiver, maybe you end up making the move. Maybe you make some calls. Because again, the Eagles don't have that third guy. Zeke Pascal is a free agent. Greg Ward's been scratching the surface for a couple years. It doesn't really seem like he's going to be that guy. Britton Covey's essentially a punt returner. So you will need that third guy, but could it be somebody else that maybe fits a little better into what the Eagles are trying to do? Maybe give a more of a sure option for Jalen Hurts. Here's the stats from Quez Watkins over the years. First 3 years, he went from 7 catches his rookie year, and then in his second year, he really blossomed. He had 647 yards, and he was a big part of this Eagles offense. He was a guy that could really open some eyes at times in certain moments or certain games. He was kind of one of those big play wonders where, you just see him running downfield and it's like, okay, Quez can really stretch this offense out. But let's be honest, this year was disappointing. 33 catches, 350 yards, didn't really fit in. And a part of that, again, is how prolific the Eagles offense was. It was, the usage of A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So there just wasn't as much to go around for a guy like Quez Watkins. But, it all depends on what you think his future value is going to be and where he can go. That's kind of where it's at. You look at the contract again. This is going to be the final year, $2.7 million he will make. Should the Eagles keep him around, or is the benefit there to try to go out and upgrade at the position? I could see it going either way. But the fact that it is now being reported by The Athletic that the Eagles could potentially be willing to move on from Quez Watkins kind of shows me that there's a little bit of traction. It kind of shows me that Howie Roseman is looking to upgrade this team every which way possible. And that is a good sign because Howie Roseman, let's be honest, had probably one of the best off seasons a GM has ever had last season, but he is not satisfied. He is not sitting there saying, okay, we have enough talent to get back there, right? He's going to do everything he can. He's going to, manipulate the cap. He's going to do everything in his power to make sure the Eagles are still upgrading. And that shows me the hunger, the desire. He's continued to draft well the last couple of years. I expect nothing less out of Howie Roseman and the front office. I think they're coming back to try to make another big run. And, Quez Watkins has had his opportunities. He has had his opportunities. If he ends up getting dealt, I can't be mad at it because he has had chances to prove himself and he's had big drops and big moments. So maybe another team's willing to bank on that and maybe, send over a 3rd round pick, maybe a 4th round pick. Is that what Quez Watkins is worth right now? If you could get a 3rd round pick or a 4th round pick for Quez Watkins, I think you definitely consider making the move. Taking a cheaper alternative in free agency and trying to go with a more veteran option. But those are just my thoughts. Definitely going to be interesting to see what happens. First kind of traction here of a potential trade this offseason. Let me know what you think down below in the comments section, Eagle Nation. Should the Philadelphia Eagles weigh this option? Should they consider trading Quez Watkins, and what could they get back? Let me know down below in the comments section. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and like always, I will catch you all on the next one. Peace.